I see this warning message means you're facing a version mismatch between Sklearn's bundled JobLib library and the JobLib versions separately installed in your Python environment. It's like having two slightly different versions of the same tool. One that came with your toolbox, Sklearn, and one you added separately. This mismatch can cause problems. This is the overall topic. Sklearn, Sklearn, is a popular machine learning library in Python. JobLib is a library it uses for parallel computing, helping speed up calculations. The core problem is different versions of JobLib are causing conflict. It's a versioning headache. I'm explaining the root of the problem more specifically here. Sklearn includes its own copy of JobLib. If you also installed a different version separately, that creates the warning message. It's like having two slightly different versions of the same instruction manual for a machine. One included with the machine, and one you got from the internet. Both may work, but different instructions might cause confusion. Here, I introduce the fundamental concept that is crucial for solving this issue. It emphasizes that the warning arises from incompatible versions of JobLib, a library critical for parallel operations in Sklearn. It doesn't necessarily crash your code, but it can cause unpredictable results and difficulties. Ignoring the warning is not a good idea. It might seem harmless now, but it could cause problems later on. Think of it as ignoring a warning light on your car's dashboard. It might work fine for a while, but eventually ignoring it could lead to something much bigger. This presents the possible answers to the problem presented earlier. Each answer presents a perspective on the issue. I'm analyzing the wrong option in this section. Option D suggests ignoring the warning, which I explain is risky and could create more problems down the line. This section outlines the steps I take to solve the problem and evaluate the given options. This warning, InconsistentVersionWarning, pops up when you're using Sklearn, Sklearn, and it signals a mismatch between the versions of JobLib, a library Sklearn uses for parallel computing, that are installed in your computer. One version of JobLib is bundled directly with Sklearn, and another might be installed separately in your Python environment. This is what causes the warning. I'd say this statement is totally correct. The core issue is that Sklearn has its own version of JobLib packaged inside it, while you might also have a different version installed separately in your Python environment. This creates the mismatch that InconsistentVersionWarning is all about. To fix this, I recommend you match the versions. You can either upgrade the independently installed JobLib to match the version bundled within Sklearn, or you can downgrade the independently installed JobLib. Either way, the goal is to remove the version conflict. While your model might still work, this warning is a heads up. The mismatch could possibly lead to suboptimal performance or some unpredictable behavior down the road. It's a good idea to take care of the mismatch, even if you don't see immediate problems. This means Sklearn, a machine learning library, uses its own version of JobLib, a library for parallel computing. You might have also installed JobLib separately. The warning flags this difference in versions. Think of it like having two slightly different versions of the same tool in your toolbox. This might not immediately cause issues, but it creates the possibility of unexpected behavior. I agree, this statement precisely describes the root cause of the warning. Sklearn includes its own JobLib version, and you've installed another version independently, causing the conflict. It's like having two slightly different copies of the same book. You should aim for consistency. To fix this, either upgrade the separately installed JobLib to match Sklearn's version or downgrade your standalone JobLib to match Sklearn's internal JobLib. This ensures everything works in harmony. It's like making sure you use the same edition of a textbook for all your classes to avoid confusion. While your model will probably still run, this warning suggests potential performance problems. Think of a race car with mismatched parts. It might still run, but not at its best. The mismatch could cause unforeseen slowdowns or unexpected outputs. I strongly advise against ignoring this warning. While it might not always cause immediate problems, it significantly increases your chances of encountering unexpected behavior or hard-to-debug errors later. It's like ignoring a warning light on your car's dashboard. It might seem fine now, but something could go wrong soon. This warning pops up in Sklearn, Sklearn, a popular machine learning library. It tells you that there's a mismatch between the version of joblib, a library Sklearn uses for parallel processing, that's included inside Sklearn, and the version of joblib you've installed separately in your Python environment. Think of it like having two slightly different versions of the same tool in your toolbox. Exactly, this statement gets to the heart of the problem. Sklearn has its own version of joblib packed inside, and you might have also installed another version of joblib independently. This difference is what triggers the warning. To fix this, I recommend matching the versions. You can either upgrade the separately installed joblib to match the version bundled in Sklearn or downgrade the independently installed one. It's like making sure all your tools are the same model so they work together seamlessly. This is partially true. While your model probably won't crash, having different versions of joblib could lead to unexpected behavior or slowdowns. It might work, but it might not be running at its best potential. This is incorrect. I strongly advise against ignoring it. While sometimes it might not seem to cause immediate issues, ignoring the warning increases your risk of hitting unexpected problems later on, which could be tricky to debug. It's like ignoring a small crack in your wall. It might not seem like a big deal now, but it could become a much larger problem later. This question is the heart of the quiz. We're trying to figure out which statements accurately reflect the implications of the inconsistent version warning message and what actions are appropriate. This summarizes the core issue. A version mismatch for the joblib library within Sklearn. Joblib is a vital component for parallel processing within Sklearn. The quiz asks to identify which statements accurately describe the warning and how to solve it. The options list potential solutions and implications of the warning. This warning appears in Sklearn, when there's a mismatch between the version of the joblib library bundled within Sklearn and the version of joblib installed separately in your Python environment. I see this as a heads-up, not a showstopper. It signals a potential problem, but your model might still run. Exactly, this is the core issue. Sklearn comes with its own copy of joblib, but you might have a different version installed separately. This difference causes the warning. This is like having two different versions of the same cookbook, one included in a cooking kit, and another one on your kitchen shelf. You'd likely want them to match for consistency. To fix it, I suggest aligning your standalone joblib version with the one bundled within Sklearn. You could upgrade the standalone joblib or downgrade it, whichever is easier, to match the version Sklearn uses. This eliminates the mismatch and solves the problem. Think of it like this: you want your two cookbooks to be the same edition. While the model might run, this warning hints at possible performance problems due to incompatibility. It is better to address it to ensure your model runs smoothly and efficiently. It's like having a car with slightly mismatched tires. It might still drive, but it's not ideal. I strongly disagree. Ignoring it is risky and not a best practice. While it might not cause immediate issues, it can lead to hidden bugs or inconsistencies later on. Always investigate and resolve it to improve overall robustness and reliability. I'm presenting a problem about a warning you might see when using Sklearn. Inconsistent version warning. The version of the bundled joblib is different from the version of the installed joblib. This means that Sklearn, which uses joblib internally, and the separate joblib you've installed on your system have different versions. Let's find out what that means and how to deal with it. This is a multiple-choice question about the Sklearn joblib version mismatch warning. You need to decide which statements correctly describe the issue and how to address it. Get ready to select all the correct options. This option says the warning might mean slower speeds, but your code will probably still run. I'll tell you whether it's true or false based on the fact that version mismatches can cause unexpected results, sometimes impacting performance. This option focuses on the root cause. Two different joblib versions, one part of Sklearn and the other installed independently. I'll confirm if it correctly explains the warning. This option suggests a solution: making sure both versions of joblib match. I'll discuss if changing the joblib version to match is actually good practice. This option recommends ignoring the warning. I'll explain why ignoring this could actually be a bad idea. This warning message tells us that Sklearn, a popular machine learning library, is using a different version of joblib, a library for parallel computing, than what's installed separately in your Python environment. I see this as a potential problem because it might cause unexpected results. This is the core question of the quiz. We need to carefully consider the options provided to choose which statements are correct regarding the warning message and ways to fix it. The question asks us to analyze 4 statements. Each statement offers a potential explanation of the warning and suggests solutions. We must carefully decide whether each statement is true or false. This statement suggests that even though the warning appears, your machine learning model will still probably work. However, the performance might be less than ideal due to the version mismatch. This statement correctly identifies the root of the problem. Sklearn uses its own version of joblib, and there's a different version of joblib installed independently in your Python system. This mismatch creates the warning. This statement proposes a common and effective fix. Either update the separately installed joblib to match the version used by Sklearn or downgrade the independently installed joblib to match Sklearn's bundled version. This statement suggests we could safely ignore the warning. However, I would strongly advise against ignoring such warnings as they may lead to harder to debug issues. This is the section where we were initially presented with the problem, which was the inconsistent version warning from Sklearn regarding joblib. The entire quiz revolves around understanding and resolving this warning. This concisely describes the core problem: a version conflict between scikit-learn and joblib. Scikit-learn uses joblib, and this mismatch can be problematic.